Hi guys, FrostFangs here, welcome back once again, of course, to the Paladins video. Only playing Summon Nyx today, the newest released champion. Even though it feels like she's been out for ages, she technically only released a month or two ago, and I'm kind of surprised that it's not been longer than that. I'm hoping sometime soon we get a new champion, or at least, you know, some teas or something, because yeah, I have quite a bit I want to talk about today, and sort of the state of Nyx, because I feel kind of harsh calling her a failed champion release, but to be honest, she sort of fits that description. She is kind of playable with different playstyles, but realistically, she feels very samey regardless of what you go for. And yeah, I'll get into it as we go through the video. So I've got two different builds here. The standard one, which I've shown you before, but it has been tweaked a little bit. We've got extra range instead of, I think, extra health. I had two versions of it at one point, and I've just messed around a ton with Nyx, but it's always pretty much been speed, a bit of reset, this card level 1 of course, and then yeah, either range or health. And then the second build or playstyle, which is sort of poison Nyx. I've talked about this before. Apparently it was broken and they fixed it, so I'm going to give it a proper shot here in this video, but I still think it will be kind of underwhelming without them tweaking how the poison works. I've talked about that before, but yeah, it's fully going in that direction, just yeah, buffing out the F. But to extend that and explain what I said at the start, sort of what I've talked about with Caspian in other videos, and sort of how they've nerfed him very surprisingly and just have left him where he is. I don't see him anymore at all. I feel like Nyx I've also just very rarely seen recently, even though she was played quite a lot at the start, because she's just played so repetitively. She was definitely pretty popular, but I don't see many people maining Nyx after she's sort of settled and the balance changes have sort of happened, so I feel like they really need to do something to give her more variety, or else she's a bit of a failure because she's only got one playstyle that feels similar regardless of how you try and sort of tweak it. And definitely don't get me wrong, I've said this before in other videos, but you know, you might not have seen them. I like Nyx a lot. I think she's a really cool character, and I think there's a lot of potential in her kit with very few things being changed to turn her into just an insanely great character, like I sort of suggested with the F poison. I'd of course love to hear from you in the comments if you've got any suggestions for what you think they should do, and I'd also love to hear of course where you think she is, if it should even be changed in the first place, or if, you know, Nyx is kind of alright in the spot she's in, because I think my opinion does fit in with most people's. She can obviously have a bit of a hard time depending on the maps and the teams and stuff, but overall I would consider her very consistent. But anyway, for game 1 we got Siege, Serpent Beach, we got Lilith, Ram, Vora and Charlene. Pretty crazy comp there. And for their side, Grover, Andro, Eevee, Drogos and Barak. Abyssal Breach you never really see, and I've played it a couple times, it just isn't as good as the other options. Subjugation in some scenarios even after the nerf is worth grabbing, but Show of Force is just very consistent, and that cripple that it gives you now is just such a strong thing. Anyway, gonna let the gameplay speak a bit because I've been yapping a ton so far. Sandtrap, Subservience, Cursicle, Relentless, Fortify, Fusillade, Rampant Blooming, Godslayer, and then Wormhole. We're gonna drop down, play the point. We have the double tank, so we really should be doing this. I'm gonna pop the F early. Lilith's gonna throw the mark, so it should be a pretty free way to try and hold this, I imagine, but I don't really feel too comfortable on the point. Lilith is giving me massive heals, so I really should just push up, get rid of the Drogos here. Not Drogos, Grover. Drogos is the one shooting me. Drop the Q here to slay him as well. Drop a like instant right click, get taps on him, that cripple to stop the F, although I don't know if we're going to be able to clear him in time. Actually kind of hard to hit him as a Nyx, to be honest. We'll just cripple the Grover, and he is out too. I do really like her kit. Overall, I would describe her as like a pretty A tier character. If I was going to put her in a tier list, which I should probably do an updated version of sometime soon, she would go in like an A, maybe even an A+. I feel like from my videos you'd probably assume that I'd put her in like a B or a C, but to be honest, I think A is pretty appropriate. We'll drop the Q there, just keep battering him. That is an Andro ult. Don't really have to care. Her damage output at the moment is pretty solid, to be honest. I think they buffed that as well, at least moved something around, because it feels different than I remember last time I played it. We'll go for the ult. Kind of a bad spot. I guess we stunned the Andro because it goes above. I learned that in the last video. Again, just trying to play kind of annoying. I don't really know if this is a good idea, but being back here feels like a good spot if we can sort of get some space. Eevee's going around. Ram's hitting me with some subservience heals. Yeah, I'm also trying to take advantage of that. I feel like that should have hit him. The right click maybe get him with that. No, kind of activated early somehow. He's gone. We have so much CC, by the way, especially with like the Charlene cripple added in there. Ram ult, stuff like that. Vora cripple too. Barak running in. I'm just trying to punch out the turret. It's taking me ages. I did drop the Q, but for some reason I don't think I could see it. Either that or I just didn't pay enough attention. What I was trying to say is that we don't really have the sort of heavy CC that you notice, like stun from my ult or Ram's ult, stuff like that, but we have soft CC that they're really going to pick up on. Eevee, Andro, Grover, Drogos really getting their movement limited. Do I push in? Pretty good right click, to be honest. If Ram's doing that, so I'm going to come in with him. We've got a pretty good amount of nimble, so we're not that slow. I feel like I'm honestly massive in this map right now. I'm just kind of running around punching people and stuff, which is obviously the Nyx experience. We'll drop down, I think, go for like an ult play. I forget you can actually do it kind of in the air. There's a stun on him at least. We'll pop the F as well, just to tank stuff. Right click to stop his F. I don't know really what I'm doing. I'm just trying to zone them in this corner. I think it's kind of working. They're all gone. Yeah, there's a double. Nice. I'm just holding left click. There's still problems with her basic hits as well. I don't think that would really make her play rate any higher, but probably make her win rate even more above what it is at the moment, I would say. Definitely wouldn't make anybody main a Nyx if they didn't already sort of think about it, but those of you guys that maybe played her a little bit less than you would now would maybe consider picking up because, you know, she'd be less annoying to play, at least more consistently. If that makes sense. I'm just so bad. I'm so cooked. I don't know, but there's the 3-0. I feel like we're doing work on it, to be honest, so far. We'll do one more, of course, after this. It's actually been a really good game, to be honest. I've just been kind of in the zone with Nyx, especially because we've got that Lith with heals. I can just kind of run around and be super aggressive, and it hasn't really, you know, gotten me too screwed. The Grover's not been doing a great job on heals, but Barrack has been doing a really good job trying to play as a tank. We just have a very toxic comp through the queue up there. I didn't do anything. Right click there for the Andro. Does that stop his, like, chain dashes? I guess it does. I don't know if it puts it on cooldown straight away or if he can get out of it and then continue using it. I haven't gone against Nyx as Andro enough to know. That is a Grove ult, not a Grover. Drogo's. I miscalled it. It's whatever. We'll pop the ult here. There's a stun. I don't know if that was really worth doing, but Ron went behind to try and do a similar sort of play, I think. Can I get rid of this Drogo's? No, we did get cauterized on him, but let's try and get rid of the healer first. Right, I don't know how we've not already lost this fight. I feel like we were on the brink of completely failing that, and it worked out. And there we go. There's the victory. Barrack was on like 2 health, and I think the Andrew's just behind that rock on the exact same amount, but I feel like that game very accurately represented the mixed explanation I gave you at the start, where she's unsuccessful, but also successful at the same time. She does well, rank, comping casual, that's what I pointed out, as well as a little bit cheesy. She does well, she's pretty consistently good. She's just unsuccessful in the sort of variety thing, which is how I define Paladins, because we got so many options for that, and yet she's not really taking advantage of it because she's played the same way over and over again because it's the best by like a pretty decent margin. If you compare it to your other options like card builds, wise and staff talents, all that, you know what I mean. As for the stats there, it seemed like on our side it was mostly us 4 putting in work, with the 4 having a bit of a hard time, and they were seemingly more consistent, but that's probably because we had the double tank and we were just, you know, face tanking a lot of the damage. You don't have a really good way to block it with Rom or Nyx, and Earth was just healing it up, I think. Okay, King of the Hill match at archives for game 2. We got a Zin, Grok, Tiberius, Andro, different team comp, but we'll see how we do. Much more aggressive looking. And then on their side, Khan, Grover, Tyra, Zin, and Term. Seems like the flip of the last game. We'll see how we do. Lots of borders. I kind of wanted to go for subjugation, but I've decided that this should be the match to realistically show this off. I'm not going to have a better opportunity really. We're up against double tank. I can try and show this off. Like I said, this could be much better, but they did fix it from where it was last time, where I think I tried to show it off in a video. Either that or I scrapped one, I can't remember. But yeah, we have pretty good tick damage right now. I can already kind of see it. My god, the CC by the way, but yeah, okay, that went quite well. Shout out to Grok for the heal, but as you can see here, when we've got the F up, we've got crazy range. You can kind of just about see the max range on it. It's ridiculous when you're friggin' buffing it out by 100%. We're obviously buffing out the damage as well. Shout out to Grok, drop a U-Rock, as I'm just getting slapped by the Grover because I can tank it. My man is doing work. Pop the F here again just to sort of tick him, but it's kind of hard to even see your range. It's massive when you're buffing it out by this much. You could easily put less points into it if you didn't want to go fully in the direction and run some of the stuff that I showed you in the last setup, but for the sake of the video I'm maxing it out. You don't realistically need to though. Got rid of the Zin there who was on no health. Going to go for the ult because Tyra went for it. Is that still going to give me the stun? It is. There we go. Actually countered. Holy shit, that worked. We'll drop the Q. That's a can't grab. Rip. We'll throw that there. That didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't know what I could have possibly done to counter that. I'm a Nyx. I'm just dead. I'm gone. I'm in the floor. Definitely doesn't do a crazy amount of damage here to the squishier characters like Tyra, Grover, Zin. You're only going to really take them for like 10 to 12 each, which is pretty rubbish to be honest, which is why I sort of would hope that it would tick up the closer you are, because increasing the range doesn't really make that much of a difference. You're still only taking them for 12. It isn't that massive. Definitely does add up though over the course of the game, and especially on the tanks where you're taking them for like 20 plus, you really do kind of notice it in a fight over a longer one where you're sort of going back and forth a little bit. Don't really have much of a benefit though from being closer. You actually kind of want to be a bit further away so you're not taking as much, but yeah, dead there. The Khan does feel very different from normal Nyx, where you always want to kind of push in aggressively and play like sort of middle range at max. With this one, you're not as incentivized to push in, which doesn't really make sense when it's an F setup and an aura and stuff. I'm dead here by the way. I'm pushing in this game. It's not really working out. Don't feel like I'm really outputting that much. I'd definitely be doing better here with a normal Nyx setup, but stats wise at the end, we probably will have a decent amount of damage, which is not winning fights because the F does not really win you fights. It just kind of adds on to the stack. We'll go for the ult here. That was a pretty good one actually. More damage. You can see here the tick is kind of nice. It's kind of just like a weaker sort of sky debilitate, which fits because they're both purple kind of. Yeah, you get how this works. I don't know why I'm over explaining it. Pop the F here, just kind of tank it, push in on her. We can play kind of aggressively. We can pull her in here just to be annoying, stop her from getting away. There we go. You can easily win a one-on-one, but it's actually not the scenario you want to be with this in, obviously, especially compared to normal Nyx. There goes Term. Gonna go for the ult here. Don't feel like I'm doing terribly in this one, to be honest. Look how cool it would be there if I had like insane F damage because they're all like stacked right on me, but yeah, I don't feel that impactful with the F. I feel impactful because of like the rest of her kit, which is obviously what you're doing when you go for normal Nyx, and this just feels like a variation that could be really cool at the current like level of effectiveness, even after they fixed it, because it was I think half as good as it should have been or something. It's still just not that great, and I really want it to be because I think this would be such a cool way to play her. Tick damage just isn't really anything, and they could easily make the radius on it tiny or nerf it in other ways to sort of make up for the fact that it would be dealing more damage, and it would give her a better way to play her. You get what I mean. I feel like it's very straightforward, my explanation, but for some reason I'm like over elaborating on it. We're just going to run here. Just found out you don't heal from being out of combat. I was just waiting down there for ages because my F was ticking people on top. Hello, Term. We should be able to kind of shred through you here, right? Just with the F up, getting big hits on him. There we go. He's probably going to go for the ult. We'll go for ours. I don't know if that was really a good idea, but this way there's everybody in the same spot. Kind of pay attention to the big Nyx, pulling 3 people in or 2. The low damage for like a long time does provide a reveal, which I would say on a different character would maybe be strong, but on Nyx it just doesn't really feel like it's doing very much for you, because unless you're chasing somebody, knowing where they are isn't really the problem on her. That is a can't grab again. Rip, I think that's like the 4th, 5th time he's done that. I see what they were going for with this setup though, and I would really like it to work. I just think at the moment you're better sticking to normal Nyx, which is why I showed it off first. This isn't terrible though. It's actually kind of close to being good in certain scenarios where you might actually want to grab it sometimes. Go for the ult. We've got the F up 2 that ticks on it. Honestly, the last ages when you've got full Chronos, it feels like you're nearly constantly ticking people. So I think the damage at the end of this game is probably going to be at least semi-decent. We'll throw that right click there. Feels like sometimes I don't actually see the cube. I think it is just, yeah, getting cleared so quick I don't even get a chance to spot it. There goes Term. My dead to tick damage. I am the easy defeat. We nearly clawed it back at the end. I think we were only 50 off. Overall, another really good game for her. And yeah, there are the stats for the second one. Tell a story that I was sort of predicting in that game there, but a little bit actually better than I was expecting, to be honest. 124k is kind of crazy. Maybe we did do better with that setup. We probably would have had a better KD with less damage. That's kind of obviously going to be the trade-off with it, but it definitely did its job there. It's obviously going to be one of the setups with damage and less sort of payoff with it in a match, like feeling-wise, but yeah, I'm happy with that, to be honest. Zin did fine, Tiberius did fine. A few people in that one had a bit of a tough time. It was a tough match overall for the team. For their side, I think they kind of shredded, to be honest. Zin was putting in work, Khan was carrying, seemingly there. 29-1 is crazy considering the rest of his stats, although I guess he had highest damage on their side by, you know, a decent amount, surprisingly. And then I actually had highest in that game by like 25k. Not much else for me to really say there, though. I'm actually kind of surprised they won that. There we go, Nyx. I feel like she could do with some changes, but honestly, she's in a pretty fine spot. It's just that she's a little bit repetitive. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, of course. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Let me know also what you want to see me do next. I'll see you all very soon. And as always, stay frosty.